everybody, back in black. Welcome to Vulnerable AF Friday. It's probably gonna be very short. I wasn't even sure I was gonna show up today, but I'm not feeling great. So I was like, should I even show up? And it's like you have these thoughts where you feel like you have to show up. You know what I mean? Like, part of me does show up for other people, right? Like, part of this is to try to assist other people in starting the healing journey. It's not me telling you how to do it. It's not me telling you you ought to do it. It's just me saying that it's doable, right? But I had kind of a rough night, and I'm just not really feeling it today. I'm not feeling that great. Like, I feel a little sick to my stomach. Hold up. Let's yield here. I have a yield to oncoming traffic, so you gotta crane your neck to make sure you can go. So I'm not really feeling great today. I'm feeling extremely vulnerable, honestly. I'm feeling emotional. Because I think that's what happens when people like us, people like me, really kind of tune in and go deep. And sometimes I wish that I could just be like a surface level person. Like, sometimes I feel like my life would be a lot easier if I could just like live on the surface of life and never go deeper and never question things. But I also don't know. I mean, ignorance is bliss, so I guess I wouldn't know that I was missing out on anything. But yeah, so I had kind of a rough night. I feel kind of sick to my stomach this morning. I don't really want to discuss my personal business in life. I'm trying to kind of keep that a little bit separate, even though I share a lot of my personal life about myself, right? I don't want to share life about like the other people in my life. But even that, I feel like is telling too much, right? I just try to keep my personal relationships separate of this, because even though they factor in, that's not what this is about. But I was pumping gas just now, thinking like, what the fuck? Like, first of all, do I want to do a video? And then the answer that kind of came through, right? Like the intuition-y answer kind of was like, almost like LOL, it's not for other people, it's for you. You know what I mean? Like, you showing up is more for you than anybody else, is kind of what I was met with when I was like, what the fuck? Like, why do I even, like, do I need to show up for people? And like, why did I sign myself up for this? Which, yes, I could quit at any time. 100%, absolutely. But I've done plenty of quitting in my life, and sometimes it's not always, like, the right or best answer, to be truthful. And some things I have quit, and it was a good thing that I quit. But, I was thinking about it while I was pumping gas, and I found myself getting kind of emotional, and I probably am again, because that's just who I am. And I was pumping, and I was thinking about how time is precious, and sometimes when you're on your healing journey, as much as I think it's important, as much as I get on here and I beat the drum about it, sometimes we get so hyper-focused on it that we forget to, like, pay attention to other things. And to some degree, live life. Like, I don't think that I'm not living life, but I think that I'm so focused on my own world sometimes that it's almost like, even though there are people around me that I care about, I almost forget to focus on them sometimes, because I'm just so honed in on my healing and like myself and making myself better. And it does feel and sound selfish in that way. I don't think that that it's a selfish act. I think it's a very loving and giving act to focus on yourself and heal yourself if need be, which I don't think I know anybody in this world that doesn't have room for improvement. And a lot of times improvement really is just healing something that's broken within you anyway, right? A habit, what do? I want to break a habit or fix a habit, you know what I mean? Change a thing, you're really just kind of fixing what's not working, you know? And with the situation last night, it just made me really think about like the time that we have with other people and how it's not promised to anybody. You know what I mean? And it's not promised to me, it's not promised to you. I don't know how much time I really have to do the work, and I think that's a part of the factoring into the tunnel vision also, is I don't know how much time I have to do this work. And I feel like also a lot of my life has been dedicated and devoted to other people through survival. I feel like I've been a lot to a lot of other people, but out of like necessity of survival. Like, I have to be what people want me to be or I'm going to be rejected. And I don't regret the people that I've cared for and cared about and done things for. I don't have any regrets about that. But even then, I wasn't really being fully present. I wasn't really being fully alive, right? I've even said this many a time, where I was just floating through life. Like, yeah, I'm showing up and I seem like things are cool and calm, you know what I mean, under the surface, but deep down, it's always been a struggle. And even the healing can be a struggle, and it's just, I think there has to be a delicate balance, but it's hard for me to take my attention off myself, because I feel I'm deserving, and that's not untrue, but today has got me thinking, what things have I missed out on being so focused on myself? And I don't regret the focus that I've given myself. I don't regret relationships that have discontinued because I've chose myself. I think it was necessary for me to choose myself. I think it's necessary that I continue to choose and show up for myself. And that's just kind of where I'm at today. Like, I don't have some big aha epiphany, and maybe that's even better, right? Because when I think I have something to say, I just find myself going in these repetitive loops and losing track of my thoughts, and which is very frustrating. But today I don't have it in me to have some grand aha, even though this might seem like a grand aha. It's I don't feel like it's a grand aha. I feel like it's kind of like things have happened that have made you remember how vulnerable and fragile you really are, and how vulnerable and fragile the people you care about really are. You know, and it's easy to take things for granted and not really truly fully appreciate them while they're there, you know. And I don't want to make those mistakes. I've made a lot of those mistakes of not appreciating stuff when it was there. My aunt is a great example. And it's not that I didn't appreciate her. Like, that's the thing. Like, I'm not trying to shame myself and whatever. Like, I'm not trying to make it sound like I'm just making excuses and that I have no accountability either. But the truth is, when you've been through the things that I've been through, it's hard for you sometimes to be aware and receiving and accepting. You know what I mean? Like, I've said this before too, like, I wasn't in a place where I could receive the love that people try to give me. And I still feel like that's a struggle for me. I still feel like sometimes I struggle to receive the love that people try to give me. And it's kind of a painful reality, you know, like, and then it's like, I feel like I give until I'm exhausted and I can't even fully receive the love from other people who are trying to help fill my cup. And that sucks. And it's something that I don't really understand. I'm sure there's some scientific, psychological reason behind it, and I'm sure it's PTSD, you know, and I'm sure it's that. But at times it does kind of suck, you know, and I think that's one of the things sometimes that helps, well, I shouldn't say help, it's not really helping me, it's one of those things sometimes that contributes to me feeling separate of other people and me feeling distant from other people, and it's not necessarily something that I want. And then you couple that with me focusing on myself, like hardcore tunnel vision, you know, trying to reach this version or vision of a life that I see like up on this summit, you know, and that's my eyes are on the prize of that, you know. And sometimes it's very, like, it seems very selfish, because a lot of times, like, I guess I just feel like I don't know what life really has in store for me. And even though I can vision myself with people that I want to be with, it doesn't always work out that way. You know what I mean? You know, my past relationship is a good example of that. You know, in my mind, I was seeing, like, I'm trying to get to this goal so that we can have this life where everybody gets the things that they need or whatever. You know what I mean? And people are happy, right? It's all about trying to make people happy, make people happy. It's the people pleasing part. To some degree, it's the people pleasing part. And to some degree, it's I'm trying to nurture and care for. And I think for me, the struggle really is, I've sort of been forced to a masculine energy, and I've talked about this before too on previous Facebook Lives. I don't think I've ever talked about it here. I might have, where I've always felt very masculine. Like, I always feel like a lot of things rely on me, and I have to take the reins, and I have to steer the ship, and the only way that things are going to get done, or that I'm going to have what I want, or what I feel like I need, is if I take the control and I do the things. And there's probably layers to that as well. Like, if I really, really sat with it and went deep with it, you know what I mean? It would probably bring up a lot of emotion for me. It would probably bring up a lot of realization for me. And sometimes those are things I don't want to go deep on. You know what I mean? Because they're painful. But I also know those are the things that I probably do need to go deep on. And that's where, for me, I said this is going to be a short video and I'm already almost to work. For me, that's where therapy has been helping me. Is I don't have issue being honest with myself, but sometimes I struggle to, like, stay focused and stay on topic. And, like, even now, like, this started off as like time is precious, and now I'm talking about my experiences with therapy and shit. So I digress, but I'm just being kind of real today. I didn't come in here with any agenda. I didn't come in here with any brushing my teeth. Oh, I'll talk about this. None of that. I didn't even know if I was going to show up today, honestly. I'm like, I don't know that I'm really feeling it. I feel really sick to my stomach. I feel kind of emotional. Like, I don't know if that's what I want to do right now. I don't know if that's really what's best or what's called for or whatever. But the reality is, if somebody takes anything positive away or it's helpful, great. I love that. from you, or you've given so much to other people, it can be challenging. So, but today I vow to get outside of my head a little more, and always like trying to process things and trying to, figure things out, figure myself out and whatever, and just be. Today's plan is just be, and be whatever that means I need to be. You know what I mean? If I need to take it easy, take it again. If you can't stand nobody, fuck else today. Stand yourself, be kind to yourself, be loving to yourself, be gentle with yourself. Don't always show up in the way that you think you have to, or you must, or that's required of you. Today, I'm just showing up as how I need to. Perfectly imperfect, like emotional, not feeling great. I'm about to have to go have a conversation about plans changing, and have to deal with a bunch of little dictators who aren't going to like probably plans changing. The younger ones always struggle. I mean, I struggle with that too, but the younger ones always struggle with, they have an idea of one thing that's going to happen, and then you change it, and it like completely throws them off kilter. So that's next on the agenda. So I'm going to wrap this up. Again, like I just said, if you can't stand nobody fuck else today, please stand yourself. And be mindful that time is promised to no one. And even though the healing is important, the living is equally important. So, take care.